Hi, my name's Joanne Mainwood. I'm from Ottawa, and I've had diagnosed pulmonary arterial hypertension, cause being idiopathic. They don't know. I was diagnosed in 2009. 4 or 5 years earlier, it was my 40th birthday, and I wanted to go and do the aerial park where you go up, climb the trees, and swing across wonderful different obstacles. I could not keep up with my friends, and I'd start climbing up the ladders, and I was just completely out of breath. As well, I'm a teacher of grade 7 and 8. My classroom was on the second floor, so I'd be walking up the stairs and completely out of breath. And grade 7 and 8, that's 13, 14-year-olds would say, "Hey, miss, you okay? You a little out of shape there?" And it was just, I was a little bit mortified, but I thought, there's something going on here. This is not normal. I shouldn't be out of breath just walking to my classroom. I could not keep up, and it was embarrassing. And I had two young children at home, and it got to the point where I was so fatigued and so tired. I just didn't want to go out anymore. I just kind of wanted to hide with the covers over my head. And because when I did go out and when I did a lot of the things that I used to really enjoy, it was so difficult, and I was breathless and embarrassed and just felt kind of out of shape and not like myself. It was a long journey getting to the point where I was actually diagnosed. I went to my family doctor. I had had two children. I'd put on a bit of weight. And so it started with the usual, oh, you're kind of out of shape, you're out of breath. And then there was an asthma diagnosis, and there were allergies that were diagnosed. And then finally, when I just said, no, there's something severely wrong, I got sent to see the asthma specialist, Dr. George Chandy, who was also a PH specialist, coincidentally. What's important to note is that he is a PH specialist, and he was my doctor who diagnosed asthma, and he missed my PH at first. So it is really hard to diagnose. But once I really started telling him how debilitating, simple things in life had become, he just took the bull by the horn and said, "We're going to give you every test. They're going to get progressive, and hopefully, we won't have to go through all the different medical diagnoses, but let's get to the bottom of this." So he was absolutely amazing and fabulous, and he solved the mystery. First, I was hospitalized after doing one of the tests because it looked like blood clots on my lungs. But even then, they still were unsure. And he pushed forward for another test. And when he said, "You don't have blood clots," which to me was such a relief because I'd been injecting my stomach with blood thinners, and that was a horrendous experience. And the first thing was, can I stop doing this? And yes. And so it was like, oh, okay, well, it's pulmonary hypertension. I don't have to give myself needles. At first, I was almost relieved because I just heard the word hypertension and thought, well, lots of people have hypertension. It's not a big deal. But once the disease was explained in detail to me and I looked it up on Google, I did not feel as reassured or good about the diagnosis. But, I think that's common for patients. The journey is going okay. I was really lucky because I have excellent communication with my doctor and nurse at the pulmonary hypertension clinic. And at one point, he had brought up that they were going to do a new trial, a stem cell study. And I said, okay, sign me up. And he said, well, you have to meet all these criteria. It's hard to get into. And I was really, really lucky because I did meet every single criteria for the study. So I was able to become a participant in that study. And I really feel that the stem cells helped me because I felt better and had more stamina since I had the trial. Well, first of all, with pulmonary hypertension, it's not a one size fits all. And it's also your treatment can work and work, and then suddenly it stops working. And that was my experience. I was on a drug called Revatio, and my pressures have been under control. And then suddenly it was getting higher and higher and higher. And Dr. Chandy had said, I don't really like the direction this is going. And I said, do whatever. I'm game. Let's take whatever treatment. And when he brought up and explained the stem cell study for me, I said, that sounds perfect because you're using your own body's resources. They take your blood, then they take it to a lab, they alter it, they create the stem cells out of your own blood and then inject it back into you. It was a really good treatment because it was nothing foreign. It was actually my own cells that were working to repair some of the damage from pulmonary hypertension. In Ottawa, we have an incredible group of patients and caregivers. We do have a very active Ottawa support group. We do a lot of activities together. We talk regularly. And so through the support group, people knew what I was going through. And so there was another member of the support group that was also eventually getting the stem cells. And then one person I just talked to in clinic one day, because on the clinic days in Ottawa happen on Fridays. So usually if you're in the waiting room, chances are you're with somebody with pulmonary hypertension. And we just struck up a conversation one day. My husband is my biggest support. He is just amazing and he's been through this journey. My husband and I have known each other since we were like in grade 1 and 2. We've grown up together and he's my biggest support. But aside from that, having people that understand what I'm going through and the fatigue, when you're an atypical breather in a world of typical breathers, and like if your cardiac output is less than everybody else's, your heart's working extra to do what other people just take for granted or do normally, and that it can be a little isolating or make you feel, like you're always catching up, you're always behind the eight ball. So it's really nice in the support group because there are people in there that understand exactly what it's like and have similar experiences that we can laugh about and joke about. And it's just, it's a real comfort level to be kind of amongst, I joke and call them my people. When I was originally diagnosed, they recommended that I stop working, but I said it's part of my personality to teach, and I wasn't ready to stop. So for the past 14 years, I'm still going through adolescence and teaching my grade 7s and 8s, but next year will be my last year. I'm ready to retire. I don't shy away. If anybody asks me about my disease, I'm right out there. I think education is power. I've met with strangers that I've been introduced to through families or friends who are having similar symptoms just to see if they fit into the box. And I'm always going to advocate for this disease and hope that someday we do get a cure. My name is Joanne Mainwood, and I'm aware that I'm rare.